Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Nicaragua, Paraguay, and Uruguay so far, and we're expecting to reach by the end of this year 800,000 students throughout all these 6 countries. And we've managed to strengthen the capacities of 1,600 teachers, but also Ministry of Education staff and other education stakeholders in the region. And we have so far produced 26 ADT prototypes that includes textbooks and storybooks throughout all these 6 countries. We can go to the next slide, please. So these 26 ADTs we've produced, they include a content for early childhood education and primary education. And they are all based on the national curriculum books of these 6 countries. Of course, all these 26 ADTs we produce, they are very different in every country, and that includes also different features in terms of the adaptation of the content to the needs of those students in these countries. For example, some of these ADTs have also an indigenous version. So we know and we want to expand the access to other students so they can also access, for example, content in Spanish and also the indigenous language in that specific country. We also have simplified and extended versions for children with intellectual disabilities, so they can choose which version of the book they want to access. Another important element in this implementation and in this ADT initiative that we've carried out in the region is the research and evaluation elements. We've been working very closely with our Innocenti colleagues. So we've managed to assess what is the impact of these books in the classroom in terms of participation, interaction, and motivation of students. And this is something we want to keep increasing in the next stages of the initiative in these countries. Capacity building, as I was mentioning, especially of teachers, but also other education stakeholders. This is something we've managed to strengthen over the last year and a half, and we want to continue doing that. We've developed 2 different courses for developing capacity of teachers, but this is something we need to continue working on in the next few months. Network, we've managed to build a very solid network of stakeholders in the region, and also we've been able to use capacities in certain countries in other ADT countries where they were lacking that capacity. And that's why one of the elements we are most proud of, because we've managed to develop a very solid network in terms of disability inclusion, digital education, etc. Again, one of the elements I always like to highlight is the participation of children with and without disabilities in the development of this content and also in the pilots of these ADTs. Next slide, please. So, of course, it's very difficult to talk about challenges and learnings in one slide, but I'm going to try my best to give you an idea. For the overall implementation, we know that it's very important for a smooth implementation to have political and structural accord between all the stakeholders, especially because we work very closely with the Ministry of Education of these countries. Also, to continue measuring the impact of this content on learning, on students' learning. We've managed to start that with assessing interaction and motivation of the students, but we want to continue learning more about the impact on learning. And also the capacity building, we know that it's super important to keep a strengthening capacity of all stakeholders involved in the process. In the technology side, we have so many challenges, but also so many lessons learned and good practices accumulated for the last few months. We know that it's super important that the platforms where we host our ADTs is very accessible, so we can increment and scale up usage and dissemination of ADTs. We also know, and this is something we've been working on very, very hardly, the offline version needs to be of quality and needs to work very well, especially because we know that most vulnerable children in this region and many other regions live in remote areas where there is no internet connection, and also because we want to start increasing the use of ADTs in emergency contexts where also the connectivity is very limited. Audio description, including audio description also in the activities, has proved also very, very useful, and also to include a demonstration video of how to use ADTs, not only for teachers, but also for other education stakeholders. And we've been doing this already for a few countries, Jamaica, Nicaragua have also been doing this, and this has increased and improved the usage of ADTs around with all the stakeholders involved. Finally, for teachers, very important to introduce the learning objective when they are piloting these books in the classroom, and also to monitor how the students are using ADTs whenever they are starting to use them and learning how all the functionalities work. Super important as well for us to increase usage of ADTs, to make sure teachers are including a lesson on the use of ADTs, and so we can make sure that these are being used in a larger number of classrooms. And of course, as I mentioned before, to make sure we keep a strengthening capacity for teachers in the use of ADT, so they feel more comfortable when they are teaching and when they are interacting with ADTs in the classroom. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea, as I mentioned before, one of the most important elements of this initiative is our closely collaboration with Innocenti. So they've been helping us to develop certain research products to see what is the impact of ADTs in the classroom, how the different stakeholders are interacting with ADTs. So far, we've managed to develop very specific products in terms of research for Jamaica, Paraguay, and Nicaragua, and more products are coming. These are all accessible in our website. I will be sharing it in the PowerPoint presentation. So far, we've managed to show that the use of ADTs improves students' motivation, classroom participation, and also interaction among students with and without disabilities. And this is a very important element because these ADTs are for everyone, not only for children with disabilities, but also for children without disabilities. And this is one element we also want to highlight, right? And also, of course, we also know that we want to continue investing in our teachers, in teachers training, as we said, including UDL, Universal Design for Learning, and also basic digital skills. Next slide, please. Next one. Thank you. And just to conclude current status, so as I said, we are finalizing the last stage of our implementation. We are now going to be focused on dissemination of ADTs and usage of ADTs. And also very important to mention, one of the most important things is that in every single country office where ADTs are being used, the usage of ADTs is being in alignment, is in alignment with other regional education priorities. So for example, we have the Foundational Learning National Program in Dominican Republic, where we are using the ADTs in all the classrooms where this program, national program, is being implemented. We also have Education Cannot Wait in Colombia. We are trying to align the efforts of ADTs in the use of migrants, children migrants that are in context of emergencies, and also out of school children. The national initiative in Paraguay, we're also trying to monitor the use of ADTs in these classrooms. Important element as well, all these ADTs are available now in the Learning Passport website. And this is also one of the things we've been trying to do to align ADTs with other digital education efforts we are doing at UNICEF. Short term, we're going to be hosting, and this is a process led by HQ, and my colleague Julie will speak later on, a hackathon in Brazil. We want to enhance the production of ADTs, and also another important element that countries are doing, they're involving publishers in the process to see how we can make this initiative more sustainable, including new actors in the process. Also AI, and this is where our country office Uruguay is going to be piloting an initiative on how to enhance also the production of ADTs. I want to extend here because Julie will talk about it. And in the long term, of course, we want to enhance the usage and dissemination of ADTs at the national level, and even encourage other countries of the region to start producing ADTs based on the experience of these 6 countries. Next slide. I have finished my presentation. I just wanted to mention for everyone, we have endless resources that you guys can already check. Some of them are already in English. These are all included in this PowerPoint presentation, so you will have access then as soon as our colleagues share this presentation. We can go to the next slide. Including in these resources, we have So all the textbooks that we have developed, in 14 in total in Jamaica, all of them are in English. So you can access them all to see what are the features and what is the content we've included in these 12 storybooks. Next slide, please. And also human interest stories. This has been shown as a powerful element to show the impact, not only at the education level, but also at the community level, where we can see what is the interaction in the classroom, but also what is the impact in the family of the students using ADTs. I think this is the last slide. We have a video that we are not going to show here, but also we have the opportunity to use one of our stories in Jamaica, to include them in the powerful advocacy campaign that UNICEF US developed last year for Halloween. They included one of our stories, and they managed to get a lot of donations based on this story. So this is also how we can maximize and scale up the dissemination of ADTs around the world. Thank you so much. This is my last slide.
Felix, you are on mute. Felix, you are on mute.
I hope I'm not late. I was rushing a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tanya, for the great lessons from Latin America and the Caribbean. We are very excited to see what's happening there. And just to inform you, our guest is here, Lamid So, our head of education sector in the regional office, Nairobi. And I would like just to give him a few minutes to give some opening remarks, and then we get back to our presentations. Welcome, Lamin.
Thank you very much, Felix, for inviting me. And ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, first of all, let me apologize. We had some technical problems. That's why I came in late. I know that I was expected to deliver this speech earlier on. So it's nice to see you all. And all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, please receive greetings from UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa, based here in Nairobi, Kenya. It is my great pleasure to be with all of you today in this regional webinar on promoting inclusive education through accessible digital textbooks, marking the Global Accessibility Awareness Day. What's even is more gratifying is that we are taking this opportunity today to reflect on the accessibility of digital educational materials. And you know they're important since the COVID-19. A topic which is very important, as well as we all confront critical issues essential to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Allow me please to appreciate the organizers of this event, representing various agencies, particularly UNESCO and UNICEF regional offices. It's truly inspiring to see partnerships in action. The accessibility of digital educational materials was featured in the 2023 Global Education Monitoring Report. The report revealed that access to quality educational resources remains one of the main challenges for education systems worldwide. The report highlights the cost of learning materials is a significant barrier to accessing content. In addition, the Transforming Education Summit's call to action on assuring and improving quality public digital learning for all identified digital content as a key element to unlocking the power of digital teaching and learning. The pilot accessible digital textbooks initiatives, which was funded by the UN Partnerships on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, UNPRPD, and jointly implemented by UNESCO and UNICEF from 2014 to 2022, was a project with valuable lessons for scaling up and replicating in other countries. It is particularly exciting to note that Rwanda has advanced the initiatives and continues to produce accessible materials for the learners. I look forward to hearing about their experiences and best practices later in this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, key to making educational materials accessible lies in embracing openly licensed educational content. UNESCO advocates for the implementation of the 2019 UNESCO recommendation on open educational resources as the foundational step towards establishing collective commitments to inclusive, quality education and universal access to information for all. As we also explore the potential of emerging technologies such as generative artificial intelligence to develop accessible content, it is crucial to remain cognizant of the technical considerations and biases inherent in their use. UNESCO has produced the recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence to provide guidance in the development and use of artificial intelligence technologies. This framework was adopted by all 193 member states. As we observe the Global Accessibility Awareness Day, let us prioritize the implementation of supportive policies for inclusive education. While many countries have ratified the Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities and the Marrakesh Treaty and have additional policies in place, the challenge lies in the implementation of these policies. Moving forward, our focus should be on bridging this implementation gap. The purpose of the Global Accessibility Awareness Day is to get everyone talking, thinking, and learning about digital access and inclusion, and the more than 1 billion people with disabilities and impairments. I hope that this webinar will serve for this purpose, and I wish you a very productive discussion. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Lamin, for the great remarks as we open this webinar. So without so much ado, I would like to welcome the presenter from Rwanda. As you've heard from the speech, that Rwanda has really advanced in this initiative, and they continue producing accessible digital textbooks. We'd like to learn from them. So I would like to welcome the presenter from Rwanda to take over. Thank you.
I'm seeing Bernardine is connected, but I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, so okay, so maybe as we wait for that presentation to be ready, maybe I don't know whether Julie is ready to give a presentation, then we will come back to the presentation from Rwanda.
Hello.
Yes, Bernardine, are you ready?
Good afternoon. We are sorry.
Yes.
We're really busy with installation of the presentation. Now we are, Hodi Joanne is ready to present. Thank you.
Okay, Joanne. Joanne, welcome.
Yes, she's in UNICEF. She's going to present.
Okay. Okay, welcome. The floor is yours. Yes.
I think Bernardine has just sent an updated version of the presentation. I don't know whether you got it. Hello?
Okay. Veronica, do you have an updated presentation?
Putting it up now.
I can do it.
Can we upload it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can see the screen? Are you able to see your presentation, John?
Is it okay?
Yes, it is okay.
Okay, please, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to take you through the Rwandan experience, of course, and I'll take you through our context and how we use this theory of change and how we have effectively adapted learning materials into accessible digital textbooks, the milestones we have, how we do quality assurance, and then where we would access some of our materials. So as we all know, definitely we have, Rwanda has signed the Marrakesh Treaty, and it was signed in 2020. So of course, we all know that there's a big population of learners with disabilities all over the nations of the world, and it is very paramount to see that they are supported to access adapted learning resources to improve their education. So for Rwanda, we already had the in-house, what we called the in-house textbook development, on which we attached the in-house multimedia production initiative. So looking back at what happened with COVID-19, I think there was quite a rush on remote learning, and we were not even yet aware that we had some big percentage of learners that had disabilities. So it is when we were broadcasting lessons on the national broadcaster, that is the television and the radios, that we realized that we are not actually attending to kids with disabilities. It is the time that most of the parents reached to us during the long lockdown, and we had to think on how to address that problem. So we started working with, as government, we started working with other partners, and UNICEF was one of those. And looking at the approach we would use to start the journey of developing these teaching and learning materials using the universal design for learning as one of our approach. So to date, from 2022, 2021 to date, We have developed over 15 books for which UNICEF actually supported us, 15 books for upper primary. That is, there is an English, there is a math, there is an SST, we have sets, we have creative arts, we have most of them. So we have 15 books, but that is not all, because we got also other funding from the World Bank, and we had to also work for lower primary and upper primary. So almost, if we put all the books together, we shall in a few days be having all our primary core subjects into this new technology. Next. Yes, please. So there's a whole theory of change. If you look at this in the broader way, it is okay. It differs a bit from what we have been actually traditionally doing. So we found that with this key theory of change, of course, using the universal design for learning to be able to bring all our students who are in need of learning on board, there are key areas that you have to address, of course. So for our case, we had to involve the teachers, we had to involve ourselves as REB. REB is Rwanda Basic Education Board, because that's where everything to do with the development of the curriculum and all the subjects happens. So we had to bring ourselves up to speed. Then we had to also look for other experts that have different skills in video taking, in doing sign language, and many other things. And of course, that goes also with the classrooms that should be equipped with ICT devices. And on the other hand, then you have to look for how you orient teachers to effectively use the ADTs. So if putting all these factors in place, definitely, you find that you develop all components at the same time. So if teachers are well set and they know how to use this instructional classroom delivery using ADT, then issues of inequalities will be addressed. And then what remains is to see how the learners pick up to speed on how they are interested. This is hoped to, of course, bring learning outcomes, at least to an improved level for all kids with disabilities. So this is our process. That is how we are arranged locally. So next. So I may take you through the adaptation journey. So first you have to have the key technology, which is what we had to really get ourselves accustomed to, and then look at how this accessible digital textbook would look like, who would use it. Actually, it was why we liked the universal design for learning is that at least the book that we developed could be used with kids with disabilities or kids without disabilities. So so it is so good that you don't have to separate them in the same class, because it depends on where they want to place the button, as I will show you later. Yeah, so if you look into this by simply adding in maybe a lot of pictures, simplifying the text, adding symbols, audios, sign language, it makes it, and of course making the content more interactive, it makes it at least accessible and easy for use for those with, of course, learning challenges. Oh, next. Next, please. Yes. So of course, that takes you again back to what happens locally. So you have to really think of how you're going to develop your local expertise. So we have, of course, to see how you develop the in-house team. You have to look at the development side. Who is your key partner along the journey of working on ADTs? So you need teachers, of course. You need the curriculum developers to process all the way through the adaptation, the storyboard, the development, the multimedia authoring. So you also need other people or other experts in graphic design, multimedia production, and so many others, because this I have seen us involving experts with who can do everything to do with video. Then you have on the other side signers, and then you have audio developers, and then you have to work on the book, and then write at least a script that will be that is not compromised. Actually, the content that is already in the curriculum has to really appear there. So all that is a pool that you have to develop and keep developing until you reach at least an improved level. So all these working together, there are various teams that we bring together to work to come to at least to produce a digital book. It's not easy, it's quite expensive, it needs more people with different expertise to really match on the same table and then work on that particular book. So in our case, you can see the numbers that we have so far, and we need to really increase this because we have to also work we also have to work for secondary. As soon as we finish as soon as we finish our primary, then we have to go at least all the way to the secondary school level. Next. Next, please. Next. Okay, I think this one I have just talked about. So let us go to the next slide. Our next slide, please. Okay, so this is how the team looks like. This is our studio. Good to share with you that we have already put in place a multimedia studio. So those are part of our teams that are developing some of these books. So you see the whole chain all together, the illustrators, the video engineers, the sign languages, interpretation, audio engineers, 3D animators, all that makes our in-house team. Next, please. Next. Yes, so this is all about our development process, how we do the textbook adaptation, how we do task analysis, layout, navigation, and design. Then we get to instructions and interactivity design. So all this makes up the whole process of developing our ADTs. Next. Yes, you can go to the next slides. Yep, I think this is the continuation after putting all that together. So then we are able to reach to the delivery stage, of course, and then uploading them on our website in case everyone, of course, it is something that we need it to be accessed all over the country for whoever would have internet or a laptop or whoever. So our last journey ends up on uploading them on our REB local website. So next, please. Yeah, so on the quality assurance, it is also a journey with 5 steps. So we develop, of course, with instructional designers and animation experts. And then we review by teachers, of course. They have to see whether this is age appropriate or whether the messaging is well written. And then it is validated by subject experts. And then we take it through the Rwandan National Union of Deaf. Those ones also have to look whether the sign language is okay, whether the people with disabilities are going to be taking all that they need. And then, of course, we take it through the unit of inclusive education to make sure that everything is okay. Next, please. Yes, next. Yeah, of course, we have had challenges. First, just like I said, it comes at a high cost. It takes longer to digitize, to go through all those steps. And of course, with limited numbers that we have just started to to bring together. So you find that most of our textbooks at times may be larger, so the book will also be big. So in that case, when you add the videos, the sign language, the interactivity, the 3D animation, the book becomes
Joan, you have 30 seconds to finish. Sorry.
Yes, I'm done actually. So for the way forwards, we are still looking for more improved technology to improve our ADT. And of course, we are about to pilot some of our products in 20 selected schools, collect data, and then see how we solve the online problem. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, John. From Rwanda, we are very happy to listen to those good lessons. Yeah, so I would like to give 2 minutes to Jackson from Uganda. 2 minutes to share. Jackson, are you there? As Julie gets ready. But before Julie, we may have some questions. So Jackson, are you there?
I am there. Are you able to hear me?
Yes. 2 minutes, please.
Yes.
Do you have a presentation?
Yeah. No, I'm not
Yes.
putting any presentation.
Yes. So you can introduce yourself and then you share.
Yes, I'm called Sanya Jackson. I work with the Ministry of Education and Sports in Uganda. I had just a view that I would give my contribution towards the end of the next presenter, because it was in form of reaction, but it's not now the time for reactions. I beg to submit.
Okay. Thank you. So I will give you a chance at the end, towards the end. So I don't know what. Yes, Ellen.
Apologies.
Yes.
Apologies. My colleague Julie is having issues to connect. So maybe we could start with the Q&A before, and then, while she fixes the issue, she can then present. But I don't know. I leave it up to you. I just wanted to let you know. Thanks.
Okay. So over to you, Ellen, to moderate the question answer.
Thank you very much, colleagues, and thank you to the speakers. We are running a bit late, but I think it was worth taking our time to re-understand what our speakers wanted to share with us. This has been very rich, and now we would like to allocate at least 5 minutes for anybody who wants to come with a question, clarification, or comment. We are here also to exchange as a community of practice. So please raise your hand in case you want to contribute or to ask a question. We will then give you the opportunity to unmute. Yes, I see Esther. Over to you, Esther. Please introduce yourself before.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Helen. I'm called Akwi Esther. I'm an education officer here at UNICEF Uganda, but also the focal point person for inclusion within the education section. First, I want to thank the colleagues for the presentation. I have two things. One is in terms of guiding the selection of the step-by-step process that the Rwanda colleagues did take. Do they have a guiding framework for that, or are they entirely using the guidelines, the Universal Design for Learning guidelines? That's one. Secondly, in terms of sign language vocabulary, I want to know if at the process of developing the books, did they experience any gaps in sign language in terms of the context of sign language? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther. In the meantime, I see, I don't know if it's from my side only, but the sign language interpreter is frozen. So very sorry for this. I hope we'll arrange this very soon. Is there another question before we can hand over back to our speakers?
We have some questions in the chat.
Yeah, I see first Sarah. Over to you, Sarah. Up. I'm allowing you to speak.
Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, yes, welcome,
Okay,
Sarah.
Okay, my name is Sarah Bugosi. I'm from Uganda. I have about 2 questions, but before I can ask my questions, I want to appreciate what the colleagues have presented. It's very good to hear what they are doing in those different countries, but also in Uganda, we have something that is going on, though we have a number of lessons we are learning from you. The first presenter talked about books being adapted in indigenous versions, which for me I would call the local languages. May she go further to explain to us how this is done? Because I thought like if you're adapting in English, it is easier because you use a number of softwares maybe to change these books. So how is it done here? And even in the adaptation itself, are we doing braille? Is it large print? Is it sign language? Which exact adapted books are we talking about here? Then the other one, when I say, I think this was Rwanda, where they have a number of processes, the teacher capacity building, the involvement of the children, the involvement of everyone. Could there be any challenges that they are facing in doing all this? Because I don't look at it as something very easy by getting all these people involved and then get your output in the shortest time possible. Then she also, then also the other question I have is about the publishers. How are the publishers involved in all this? Because as much as you have taken on the Marrakesh Treaty, you have ratified it, but like back in Uganda here, we have issues with publishers. Because sometimes we would want to adapt a number of books, but they are not that forthcoming. And even when we interest them that, can you do the adaptation and then the children or schools can get this from you, they are still not forthcoming because first of all, they look at adaptation as time consuming and all that. So the challenge of the publishers, how are you able to go over it? Then my last one is about the accessibility of these adapted books. Because if these books have been put online, how are those children in the rural places where there is no electricity, how are they able to access these books? Besides that, are all schools having the devices like the computers, the laptops to use to access these devices? And if they are there, what is the pupil device ratio? Because if it's a book, it should be one book to a child. So now for learners with disability, what is the ratio? What is it like? Thank you. Over to you. Otherwise, we are so excited to hear all this. And then there is another which I had forgotten. You know, you said somewhere that the Deaf Union does the quality assurance of the book. Now, how about books of low vision? How about books of braille? Who does the quality assurance? Because you were only able to mention only the Deaf Union and no other union has been mentioned. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And we really see how the Uganda team is coming strongly and very motivated. We like it. Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm going to take a last comment or question because it will be a lot of questions for our speakers. So over to you, Mr. or Mrs. Mwenya. Hello? Over to you, Mwenya. All right, okay. So I think I would like to give the floor back to our speakers. Can I propose to have first our speakers from Rwanda first, and then now Tanya, you may come in and complement. So over to you, Joanne.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. And again, I want to at least tell my sisters that never fail to start, at least do something and you will grow with it. So one of the questions was, did you get any issues? Of course, there are issues. There are issues with expertise. Since we are doing this for the very first time, it is very difficult to get the expertise that you need at once, all at the same time. But slowly by slowly, we have chosen to use our graduates from the local universities and some other polytechnic graduates as well. So if, for instance, we are going to be needing people on sign language, then we have a school on that. We go there, pick the best of what they have, and we use. If we are going maybe to be looking for video tech, everyone that knows that, we pick the best from all our universities and team all these together. So so the problem of expertise is key. And of course, it is so expensive that, as I mentioned, because you do a series of workshops, not one, not two, not three, they could be 20 to really get to the last stage of having that product. So you need to be patient, you really need to push hard and then remain consistent and look at your goal. Otherwise, you can drop out just somewhere in the middle. Yeah. So the ADT guide, I would say that, yes, we have used the guide, but then adapted it to our context, because not all contexts are the same. So you really have to study very well and understand your context and then adapt it accordingly. That's what I can say. So challenges with development, yes, sometimes you work on something and then it doesn't work. Sometimes you finish a page and then a page, for instance, in our case, a page has sign language, it has on an audio, it has on an interactive kind of animation. So sometimes one is working and then maybe you find you missed out something on the sign language, you have to redo the video. So there are always challenges. You have to be patient enough to really fix that. So with the publishers, I would say that it is something that we have actually started meeting some of them. It is very new. I would confess that it is very new to them, but we are trying to tell them that please, you need to go this way if we have to assist a large number of students, of people who want to learn, who need materials on that. So they are beginning to pick interest, but starting with stories, young children's stories. So we are following that up, and we shall see how it grows. So another question was, how about rural schools? How do you do that? So you can develop ADTs offline. You can use offline. This is where you can pick up a computer, take it in a rural place with all these books, and maybe teachers with wherever they get electricity to the center to maybe refuel their computers, then they can be able to use these books. But you need to add to that computer and a software called Authorium. So that's only when they can be able to open the book. So for Rwanda's case, at least 59% of our schools have smart classrooms, and at least 97% of the schools, at least they have one computer. So if we needed to take wherever our materials, it wouldn't be at least very, very difficult. Yeah, so they will already.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Johan, yes, we are running a bit out of time. Sorry, can you?
I'm done. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, you can just wrap up in case you want to add anything. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I just wanted to say that you need to be resilient enough to keep the project going. Otherwise, we'll drop off because it comes with challenges like any other educational asset that you may need to develop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Tanya.
Thank you, and I will be very brief because I know we're running out of time. So I think one of the questions was about the digital or local languages. We've done this, of course, in the context in which we have specific indigenous languages that have alphabet, and they have a national scale, and we've managed to do that just basically using the same technology. Once we have, in this case, the version in Spanish for Paraguay, we did the same adaptation of the content and the image description in the indigenous language. And I can definitely have a call with you separately, Sarah, to show you how this was done and how the storybook looks like, because it will be easier if we take a look at the final product, at the final ADT. And the second question in terms of publishers, of course, and I do agree with my colleague from Rwanda, this is about perseverance, right? So the publishers, as I said, was one of the main actors that have been recently involved in the process and are being involved right now in some countries where the production and implementation of ADTs is well ahead. For example, in Jamaica, we had a very recent workshop with most of the publishers of the country, where there was a high interest of publishers in getting to know the know-how, how to produce ADTs, so they can actually provide the financial resources. This is, again, something that we need to do jointly with the country office and also with the Minister of Education of that country. And the first step and the most important step is to have willingness, right, from publishers to actually get involved into this testing process, so they can actually develop the expertise and then look into how they can scale up, or even if it's sustainable in their context. So I do agree with my colleague from Rwanda. Again, context is super important. Offline version, she did mention it. All the ADTs that we are producing, is important that they have an offline version, so you can just download it in the desktop and then you can use it. Obviously, you need a device and you need to charge the device, but right now we can use the offline version of all these textbooks and storybooks. And I think that was pretty much everything, but I'm happy to have a call on the side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to stop here, at least for the Q&A. Over to you, Felix, for the rest of the program.
Okay, thank you very much, Ellen. I see we have a lot of questions, but maybe we'll have another time to handle them. So, ladies and gentlemen, can AI or artificial intelligence help us to go around all these challenges? To help us, understand whether that's possible, we have two presentations lined for us today, and one from Ellie and another one from Julie. So I would like to welcome Ellie to give a presentation, and then thereafter we go to Julie. So Ellie, I hope you are able to connect. So the floor is yours.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Felix. Thank you to the rest of the UNICEF and UNESCO team. My name is Eli Sabatia. I'm an innovator from Kenya, and I lead Signverse. It's an honor to speak to you today, especially on Global Accessibility Awareness Day, where we come together to highlight the importance of accessibility. And I'm honored to discuss a topic that is not only close to my heart, but critical in shaping the future of accessible education. And we're going to talk about the trends in artificial intelligence to make learning materials more accessible. Next slide. Yeah, so when we talk of inclusive education, why is this important? And we often find ourselves facing the challenges of ensuring that all learners, regardless of their abilities, they have equal access to quality education. And this challenge has become more rampant, in today's evolving technology and digital landscape. And it's important for us to address the needs for learners with disabilities through accessible learning opportunities. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yes, so what's the role of AI? What's the potential for AI to transform education accessibility? So we're going to discuss the emerging trends, and if we've seen over the last few years, we've witnessed very remarkable achievements and advancements in the field of AI, and they're revolutionizing how we approach education. So let's delve into some of these key emerging trends. When we talk of real-time language translation, this is from spoken, written, sign language, which we're going to discuss later on how AI is playing a key role in ensuring that persons living with hearing disability are also able to access educational content. Talking of personalized learning. So what role is AI playing in this? So AI is, enabling the creation of adaptive learning platforms that tailor educational content to unique needs and learning styles of individual students. Voice recognition, text-to-speech. This is for hearing and visually impaired students. So for students with visual and auditory impairments, AI-powered voice recognition systems, computer vision, voice recognition systems and text-to-speech technologies are enabling, to provide more tools that can convert spoken words into text and vice versa. A good example for that is Google text-speech functionality. And these technologies have been embedded in different platforms to convert spoken words into text and vice versa. Communication, facilitating effective communication between teachers and students and comprehension in classrooms. And we can also talk about, technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, and how they've been transforming education, the teaching methods into more immersive and interactive experiences, from quizzes, assignments, and virtual simulations that augment learning environments. So students are very much able to engage with complex concepts in a way that was not previously imaginable. Yeah, and finally, predictive analysis. So AI is empowering educators to identify at-risk students, and intervene, with solutions to support them in their learning journeys. And some of this is supporting, students learning with learning disabilities, hearing disabilities, visual disabilities, where AI is very much able to pinpoint areas where students may struggle and provide targeted interventions that are specific to their learning outcomes. Next slide. So if we talk of emerging trends in AI, we're looking at tremendous opportunities that AI is bringing to make more accessible education, more accessible and inclusion than we've seen before. And we need to remain steadfast in our commitment in ensuring that every learner in the classroom, regardless of their abilities, is able to equally access education opportunities. And we've discussed, the emerging trends that we've seen, where supporting teachers, supporting students, to assessments, and even more interactive and engaging learning materials. That's how the future of education is looking like with regards to AI. Next slide. So you realize that
2 minutes remaining.
Yeah. Thank you. We realize that in this ecosystem, we have very many different players looking at policymakers, educators, and technologists. And each of these groups have different roles to play. So for policymakers, the call is to ask for support in terms of promoting the adoption of ADTs and also investing in AI-related assistive technologies, which can enable, educators, technologies to work together cohesively to make sure that they develop solutions in a way that is, accustomed to the end user. And these groups can still work together. What we usually say is no solution without us. How do we build solutions that are AI powered and not just building cool technologies, but technologies that are very much targeted and are very much in line with the unique needs of a persons living with disabilities and the general educational ecosystem. Yeah. Lastly, next slide. Skip that slide. Next slide. Yeah. A case study is the work that we've been doing in Kenya with Signverse, where we're using AI to interpret text and speech into lifelike avatars with real-time precision, leveraging the power of AI, machine learning, 3D tools, which is just a simple, a sample case study of how AI can improve literacy outcomes for students living with hearing disability, and as well make sure that they're included even in terms of accessing higher education and so forth. Next slide. Yeah, so the key takeaways for this is that AI and accessible digital books are really transforming the future of education, the future of work. And the call is that, all of these different players in the education ecosystem, the development ecosystem, we need to work together in a way that we can engage and offer support to inclusive education initiatives, putting inputs from students, parents, groups, and the entire community to make sure that we are prioritizing accessibility in education at all levels. Thank you. I open for questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Ellie, for telling us the possibilities of using AI to make the learning materials more accessible. So we are running out of time, and I would like to give to Julie to take us through another session on artificial intelligence. So over to you, Julie.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm joining through my phone. I dial in because I was unable to connect. So I don't see my slides because I'm like on a phone. But I'll try to I have it in front of me, so I will show, but maybe the person in charge can follow me. Thank you. So thank you for having me. My name is Julie de Barberac, and I'm the lead senior advisor for the accessible digital textbook at UNICEF HQ. And I have previously worked with, I guess, a lot of you in the 3 countries back in 2018 to 2021, and happily met everyone and worked with the teams. And I'm very happy that this project is still of actuality in the region, and hopefully I can inform you a bit of where the project has been since the last 3 years. We developed more in Latin America, like Tanya has presented. So the new phase we are entering with this project is, we call it the reinventing of the future of the textbooks. So we are entering a phase where we're going to use and leverage AI solutions to produce the ADTs. But before that, I wanted to show a little bit more an overview of the global impact that this project has done. So now we have 11 countries. So we have 6 in Latin America, 3 in the ESARO region, and 2 more in HOSA starting. We have over 80 ADTs and storybooks that have been produced, over 3,000. We have a website, guidelines, case studies, and webinars that have been produced for the training purposes and for information also purposes in Latin America. We have regional task force in both LACRO and so the Latin America region and Eastern Africa. We have created some partnerships with EdTech developers, publishers, and universities. And we have, since the last 3 years, done a partnership with the UNICEF Office of Research and Foresight in Ochenti to raise some evidence and create, raise data to create evidence and have evidence generation. And we are continuing this journey, but we are adding an AI component to this, because we realize that some of the challenges and the barriers to the development of accessible digital textbook were of 3 aspects. So we have the time. It takes usually between 6 to 9 months to produce a single book, textbook that is more with rich in content. And it can be a major obstacle for many countries and organizations to scale and to even start the project. The cost is also a big problem. So they cost between 20,000 and 50,000 to develop, including all the implementation and the training of the teams. And it makes their adoption a financial challenge for many of the school systems and the countries. And we have capacity constraints. So most countries lack the technical resources, capacity, or funding to develop the ADTs, which brings a lot of strain on the UNICEF to kind of globally support all these countries, and we don't have the capacity. So the idea of using AI is to address 4 big topics. So the first one, we want to do an economy of scale. So we want to use AI to reduce the high associated with the textbooks. We want to save time. Like I was saying, it takes 6 to 9 months. We hope we can reduce that to 1 month. We want to use it for inclusion, so we can help. We want to use AI to ensure that all children have access to high quality educational content and opportunities. And we want to make it sustainable, and we want to scale in a sustainable way. What we intend to do at UNICEF over the next 6 months is to do pilot testing of the first AI-generated prototype in Uruguay. So we're going to work from June to December 24 in different phases. The first one will be a sprint prototyping. So we're going to, during the summer, we're going to partner with an AI company who will help us pilot an open source product code that will be for further refinement and improvement in the long term through a community of developers that will be managed by UNICEF. So we're going to create a community of hackers and edtech professionals and experts around the source code that will be created this summer. And then we're going to, at the end of the summer, we're going to take those codes and we're going to ask Uruguay to support with creating a prototype of a textbook, a full, complete textbook. And we will continue to enhance the product to make sure that we have more complex and rich content produced, add different languages. So we're going to try to have different type of fonts and languages in terms of image description and text to speech and voice. And hopefully the last step will be textbook production. So through this innovative AI-powered solution, Uruguay with UNICEF will proceed with the development of 2 or 3 complete textbooks prototypes. And we're going to add research and evidence to the textbook production and the implementation process with the support of Innocenti and probably a local institution as well. So
Julie,
what we are actually going to do.
You have 1 minute, 30 seconds. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
You have 1 minute and 30 seconds. About 2 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm saying you have.
Hello?
You have 2 minutes.
Sorry?
You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm using more. Okay. We're gonna the prototype will be working exclusively on image to text conversion, image to speech, multilingual text to speech, and automatize a lot of the accessibility features. But we're also going to work on how do we make the content more universal design for learning, and all that will be automated through AI. So basically, we're going to have a PDF coming in. We're going to have an AI-assisted conversion. We're going to confirm and review and validate with the technical team that is in Uruguay. And then we're going to have a prototype, an open source code that we're going to hopefully scale and use for other countries. So yeah, sorry, I don't have a lot of time, but the idea is to have a global impact and to use the lessons learned and the good practices from the Uruguay pilot project and to contribute to the global knowledge base, enabling wider application and transformation of education worldwide. And hopefully ESARO will be part of it in the future again. Thank you. Hello?
Thank you so much,
Hello?
Julie, for your hello. Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we are running out of time. So Ellen, I don't know whether we should give one question or maybe just one.
Yes, I agree. Maybe what we can do is note down all the questions that are actually in the chat. And then we can then come back to you with some elements of response to the person who have asked question, as well as the link to the PowerPoint and the recording. So as I'm seeing 2 hands, I'm going to maybe allow Ronald to ask the question, the unique question. I'm sorry, because we don't. We would like to finish on time. So over to you, Ronald.
Thank you, colleagues. Hopefully you're all doing well. I just wanted to ask one question. When is this AI pilot product expected to be in place? And 2, is it possible for colleagues in ESARO to join that team that will be working on these AI solutions, even if just joining the workshops and the meetings, that will be having, it will be very helpful for our learning, so that when the solution is developed, it incorporates some of our unique needs in the context of ESARO, instead of us adopting it later. Thank you.
Ronald, can you just mention the country you talk from?
I'm an education officer working with UNICEF based in Uganda, Kampala.
Uganda, yes. All right. Thank you, Ronald. Over to you, Julie.
So the answer is yes. The prototype source code that we're producing this summer will be an open source code. We're hoping announcement with Uruguay by December, and in December, hopefully, we will be able to share it with other countries and train and support everyone. But if you want to participate, I would suggest that maybe you share the names of maybe some. What we can do is at the end of the summer, we're going to have the open source code that will be probably put somewhere on a GitHub or online, and we're going to ask for the community to work on the source code to enhance it. So it will be managed by UNICEF internally, and we will invite people. So if you have, you can send us your name, the name of the people you think. We can have a conversation around that for sure. But yes, the idea is that the more we are to think about what we really need and what we want, and if we can test with Kiswahili or with other languages, that would be fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Felix.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Ellen. I think we are now coming to an end of this webinar. I see there's a lot of interest, but the time is limited. Maybe we'll have another time. And allow me to welcome our guest who will be closing for us today, Yeti. The name is long, but let me say Yeti as we are used to. But before Yeti, please I want to say thank you to all of you, and I would like to recognize you, Madam Sarah Bukosi, the Commissioner Special Needs Education Uganda. Thank you so much for your support, and all others. Thank you so much. So over to you, Yeti.
Can I confirm that you can hear and see me?
Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, everyone, and thank you all. Excellent presentations. I think what a day to celebrate. Today is a Global Accessibility Day, as has been highlighted at the beginning of this webinar. And we are doing the right thing on the Global Accessibility Day, discussing about the prospects and challenges we have in terms of ensuring that the main part of inclusive education, which is accessible digital textbook, is at the moment. When we talk about accessibility, most of the time, it's easier to talk about ramps, and it's easier to talk about physical accessibility. But for the UN in general, and UNICEF and UNESCO in particular, digital accessibility is #1, because we know that we are interconnected, and the future is going to be more virtual than physical. I think accessible digital textbooks are really becoming a norm, and I hope we won't only have some few countries. And our dream as UNICEF is that learning is no more a privilege, rather a right which should be achieved to everyone. As a young person who have learned with no digital textbook in most of my life, including the very heavy books department of law, I cannot say enough that textbooks are game changers in the learning outcomes of our children, in particular the children with disabilities. And this past 3 days, I was participating in the Inclusive Africa conference, where we have big companies like Microsoft, Google, Uber, and quite a number of them coming together and really working together to unlock the potential of technology and AI. For me, AI is not only artificial intelligence, I would call it alternative intelligence, because it's no more artificial, it's becoming natural. So it's quite exciting to see the developments that Julie has already shared with us. And also it's quite exciting to hear about the need and the lessons from LACRO, Caribbeans, including Jamaica, as well as our own countries here in the region. I would like to conclude by saying that textbooks are rights and they are a very crucial part of inclusive education. And we need to invest in them. There are good news to come these days. Cost is no more becoming an issue, as we are working with companies and creators who are daily creating open sources. As you heard from Signverse, who I was lucky to meet also in the Inclusive Africa conference, innovators are working relentlessly to innovate technologies for Africa. And I don't know how many of you know, but most of our countries do not have digital accessibility standards. To my knowledge, Kenya is the only country who have its own digital accessibility standards. And that has been enabled, of course, with the support of partners like UNESCO and UNICEF. It will be quite important that we work on getting African standards for digital accessibility to ensure that our African children with disabilities benefit, and also those standards could be enforced as laws and rules in the different countries. Last but not least, I would like to call upon all of you in this room to ensure that digital accessibility is becoming a norm in the budget of our respective ministries of education. Because I know technologies invented for persons with disabilities benefit everyone. One good example is the automatic gear of cars. Originally, it was invented for persons with physical disabilities, but now I think it's a preference of all of you in this room. So I would like to call upon increased collaboration, continued learning and exchange to make sure that no child in our region and elsewhere is left out from textbooks, accessing textbooks, using the power of AI and technology. Thank you everyone for joining us, and wishing you all a great Global Accessibility Day, where we can start a new chapter of accessibility becoming a norm to all we do to enhance education. Thank you, and over, Felix.
Thank you so much, and thank you once again, everybody. Thank you, Yeti, for finding time to join us and to close this session. I kindly request that we take a group photo. I don't know how, maybe we turn our cameras on, and then Veronica, do you know how to? Yeah, so let's turn just our cameras on. For those who will appear on the screen, we will take a screen capture, and then we say, is it Happy Global Accessibility Awareness Day, or maybe somebody can say, Ellen, how do we put it?
No, nothing. But I don't know if we are in the position to take a screenshot. But I don't know.
Those who can turn on their cameras.
Yes, all of us can turn on a camera, and somebody can go and take a
Yes.
gallery, I think.
Yes, I can take from it.
We don't have an option for us to turn off the, okay, now we have.
Okay. And we can put a big smile for inclusion.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues, we don't have an option to turn on camera, but
it's
okay,
already
it's all right.
done.
It's, yeah. Thank
So
you
thank
very
you,
much.
everyone, and have a nice time. See
Thank
you
you,
again.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
The
Bye.
speakers and the interpreters as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you stop the recording?
Not yet. Let me stop.